Hello. Today on my bench I have something very special. It is a guitar that I got for super cheap just because of the guy actually didn't know what it was. I did know what it was. And so I moved on it because it was a killer deal. This is I believe it's pronounced Teisco Del Rey ET-210, I believe was the model number, somewhere around the early to mid 60s. I want to say this was, I want to say this was somewhere between 62 and 64. It has an offset body and these cool little short horns, so it kind of reminds me of somewhere between like a Mustang and a Jaguar. It has two pickups. The pickup selectors are these little switches, and opposite to what most switch guitars are, in this position, down is on rather than pulling it up. Down is on. It works. We got some crackly pots. We're missing a high E string, and I think I know the reason why. I think there was just some alignment issues. It has this really neat bridge where these roller saddles are on basically a threaded screw, and so you can adjust the string placement by spinning these little saddles on the bridge post. It was missing its headstock decal. That's why the guy I got it from didn't know what it was, and it didn't happen to say made in Japan on it, which was really weird. I'm wondering if maybe the back plate, at some point the neck was taken off and the back plate was flipped. I don't know, but it has no marking on it except for the steel reinforced neck sticker on the back side of the headstock. This has a very Fenderish shape headstock, but it is also continuing the three-tone burst that is on the body. What else? We have the neck adjustment in the heel, and it's open with the little wheel. And this guitar is cool because like my Silvertone that I have from the 60s, it uses a 0 fret, which allows them to get low action, and the frets are weird on both this and my Silvertone. They're very short, and I don't believe that to be from playing. They're short and kind of flat. I think that is purely because there's no way that they were playing way up here. I think that is just kind of the way that they made the frets because of the 0 fret. I have no idea, honestly, and I wish that my resources I had did know the answer to the fret question. Maybe I'll find it. Maybe someone on YouTube knows, and I just need to do a little bit of a search. But I got very interested in 60s Japanese guitars when I became aware of them, kind of through my COVID lockdown YouTube holes that I would go on about guitars. And you know, surf rock was big, and it continued over into Japan, and it got really big there, and there was a very big guitar craze in the 60s, and they started producing these funky machines over there. I have this cool book that I got called The History of Japanese Electric Guitars by Frank Meyer, and it has all the different brands and factories and where they were, and very cool pictures of the guitars as they were in catalog advertisements. Just a whole lot of history combined. Now, they can't put every single model in here, but they put a lot of the brands and the eras and the advertisements and the history. the pickup styles for the different companies, and you know, it was just very, very cool. For instance, let's see, this is a Teisco, so let's go and find out what kind of pickups these are. Oh, how funny is that? I don't think they're listed, this exact type, under the Teisco. Interesting. Wonder if they're in the unknowns. No, they're not in the unknowns either. See, there's so much that changed year to year with those factories and how they manufactured things, that like there was a lot of different models. Even within like 1 to 2 years, they made so many different types of models, and they also did like variations of that model. They would call it by the same model name, but it would be different, like different body design, different pickguard engraving, but switching and everything, all the components were identical, like setup wise. So very interesting, weird stuff about Japanese guitars, but they're retro, they're funky, they're fun, and I like them. So because this was missing a headstock decal, I ordered a headstock decal on eBay, and it came with the little nails that it goes in. This guitar needed new tuners. These ones are just old. I could just oil them up, but a few of them are missing their ferrules. And so I just decided to get some nickel retro style tuning machines that are also locking machines. They lock. So these have the closed back, kind of squared off with the oval tuning head, and they are locking. Fairly inexpensive. Guyker is the company, Guyker. I've used them before. I like the tuning heads. I don't find anything wrong with them, especially when they have the capability to lock. Spilling tuning machines everywhere. It did not come with the tremolo arm or the vibrato arm. It was missing. It still has its keeping plate. It has like a little, it's hard to describe. Maybe I can't even show you on this. These older Japanese guitars had this like keeper. I don't want to call it a washer because it does have a flat tongue, a 90-degree tongue that sticks off and goes through a hole that keeps it in place. So that's all there. I think they just took the tremolo arm off because I guess maybe they didn't ever whammy bar, but I want to put it on there. So I found a replacement on Amazon, of all places. It comes with the hardware and the spring of, they call it Teisco style vibrato bridge or tremolo bridge. But what I noticed between the two is that this one has a lot more round curves on it, whereas this one has a lot more squared off curves, more straight lines on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the arm from this one and put it in this one, and I might replace the spring, and that's about all that I'll do to the vibrato bridge system. I'm going to keep the original knobs look good. I'm going to keep those on there, but I'm going to get inside, look at the wiring and the pickups. Everything works. Some scratchy pots, we can take care of that. But I want to see what's going on under the hood. We'll replace the tuners, obviously the strings. We will put a trem arm back on there. And I believe I'm going to, this has had, since the 60s, was that 50, 60 years of pressure on it. So, the spring might be a little worn out, or depending on how you look at it, the spring could be broken in. And maybe it's real sweet. So maybe I'll just put the arm in first, give it some tries. I'll oil up the spring, and maybe the spring's broken in. Maybe there's some sweet magic to be heard. Okay, so this pickup just lifts out and all the electronics are on it. It lifted right off because it was not grounded to the bridge, although there is, right here, a ground wire that was going to the bridge, and right here is a wire that was snipped, never stripped, and never soldered. I tried looking for a place where it would have been soldered. There is no additional solder and strands anywhere. So for however long, 60 years or whatever, 70 years, it's never been grounded. So this has been a noisy guitar throughout its life. It has, interesting, its volume pot is a 100K, and its tone pot is a 500K. So that's very interesting, considering these look like single coil pickups. They only have one row of magnets on them. So I imagine it's going to be bright and loud, unless the volume, that 100K volume, I guess, makes up the difference. Not sure. Very interesting. 60, 70-year-old polishing compound all up in the cavity of the body. Yep, time to clean it, time to polish it, and then I will continue from there.
you.